Let's turn now to Lord Chris Patten, of course, Conservative Cabinet Minister in the 1980s, 1990s. Most germanely for our conversation this morning, the last British governor of Hong Kong, which, of course, British rule there came to an end in August 1997. Lord Patten, thanks so much for joining us this morning. You'll be following the details of the China spy trial, the now collapsed case. The accusation is that the government, from its opponents, from its critics, that the government may have tried to influence this trial for fear of potential diplomatic ramifications with Beijing. Do you think that's likely?
Yeah, I think the dogs in the street know what happens. I don't want to go into the details which have been explored so well by the Sunday Times and the Times, good for them, about the precise relationship between the National Security Advisor, the DPP, the public prosecutions, the Foreign Ministry, and others. I think there's a bigger issue than the exact ramifications of who said and did what to whom, and that is the way, in general, we regard our relationship with China. And the two issues which always come up are our refusal to accept evidence in designing a balanced policy, and the extent to which we always give China what the emperors used to call the mandate of heaven, in assuming that you can't say anything honest or true or embarrassing about them without them taking out on you. Taking it out on your trade policy, for example. That's complete drivel.
So when the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, when she told me this morning, I repeatedly asked her whether or not Jonathan Powell was involved with not choosing to designate China a national security threat, and she kept saying he was not involved in the material considerations in relation to the evidence of the case. What do you think that means?
That worked out by her lawyer. What she said. Jonathan Powell is a very distinguished official. He was very much involved in the Good Friday Agreement. But when an official becomes the story, there's always something going wrong. And I've known several national security advisors in the past, like Peter Ricketts and Kim Darroch and so on. I don't remember them ever being part of a story like this. And the story is a simple one. The British government, or there are parts of the British government, not least the Treasury, who think you can't say anything critical about China, even though we all know what's happening, and MI5 have told us, MI6, without it damaging our trade or investment. And that is complete drivel. It always has been, but it continues to be said over and over again. And as for doing damage to our future ability to engage China on issues of great global significance, I look back to what my old critic Percy Craddock used to say when I was governor of Hong Kong. He used to say that the Chinese may behave, and he said something like thuggish criminals, but they're men of their word. Well, the one thing you know about China is they're not men of their word. They actually break their word whenever it suits them. So there are real issues here, and there is absolutely no evidence at all that in order to do business with China, in order for them to invest here, you have to go on bowing to them. It's drivel. It suits them, but it's completely untrue.
Do you think that Jonathan Powell's got questions to answer on this?
Well, when an official becomes the story, there are always questions to answer. I don't know what his views on China are. I suspect I do. I wonder what he said when he went on his last visit to China about issues that are really important to us, like the continued imprisonment of Jimmy Lai for 5 years in Hong Kong, and like the extent to which the Chinese are pursuing and following Chinese dissidents who are in this country, or people from Hong Kong who are here under the BNO passport scheme. Why do the Chinese want an embassy the size of the moon in this country? Is it in order to continue to develop their cyber security and so on? These are all perfectly reasonable questions for us to ask, and we would ask them of anybody else if it wasn't for China. The Chinese have a whacking great surplus with us. They don't invest money in this country out of a sort of act of charity. They make money. They invest either because they want an influence in the sector concerned, or because they want to make money. They do business on the same basis as everybody else. They buy things they want at the best price they can get, and if they can drive down that price by a lot of malarkey about not being rude about them, then so be it.
Just one final thing, Lord Patten. I just wondered this week if you had seen Robert Jenrick's comments about Handsworth and about not seeing a white face for 90 minutes and that being a sign of poor integration. I just wondered what you made of that, having seen the Conservative Party develop some way over the years.
Well, I'm not sure that Robert Jenrick is the sort of person which would make me, if I was a young man today, join the Conservative Party. I think some of the things he says are pretty awful, and he knows exactly who he's appealing to with these remarks. The very first constituency I fought was in South London. It was Brixton, and I saw one or two faces there which weren't white, to put it mildly. But it was a very valuable part of the country, and it produced some good MPs from time to time. So no, I think it's pretty awful.